Guidance, I always follow guidance, as many of you here already know. And after a few weeks into 2025, the guidance was that, okay, it's time to get this information about 2025 out to more people than we already have done up to this point in time. It is a very important time that we are in, and today is actually an extremely important day. The vibe for today is the vibe of self-emancipation. And self-emancipation is like literally setting yourself free from anything to do with the past that might be holding you back. That may be a barrier, that may be a block. It's literally you emancipate yourself from that. And it is anything from the past, from this lifetime or any lifetimes that you might have held on this planet. And as you go across and come out the other side, and that's why I'm going to introduce to you what 2025 is about. You have a choice where you get yourself to be positioned and where it is that you choose to step into. So today's, be aware of the fact that today is the day of self-emancipation. So if you can bring to your conscious awareness, some of the things that you already may be aware of. It may be certain type of relationships. It may be certain types of behaviors. It may be, certain repetitive patterns that you may find yourself sliding into. If you're consciously aware, just acknowledge that, okay, fine, I'm stepping away from that. It's done. I'm not engaging in processing it, nothing. I'm just declaring it complete. It is done. And it is done, and it is so. That's really one of the things that you will take on. Now, let me talk a little bit about 2025. And, I did think, should I actually create a presentation and stuff? And again, following intuitive guidance, it was no presentation. Now, some of you have heard me talk about this, that there is a shift in like cosmic, sacred geometry symbols that are empowering and powering up our planet. There is a shift from very curve-based, like curved sacred geometry symbols to a triangle, a triad. Triads are really the powerful force now. So whilst we have the golden mean, you have the tree of life, you have the flower of life, all of those are very calming, very powerful, yes. But the triangle is really the symbol that is going to power up. That's like the spark that is required. You may have the best engine fuel, but if the spark doesn't light up, the engine doesn't start. So the triad is the one. Now, what is the triad for 2025? Before I go into the triad, many of you here who've been with me for so many years, you've heard me say year after year that, there have been different energy forces that define the energetics of the year. So if you recall, 2020 was all about a baggage-free flight. 2021 was about flowing in your flow. 2022 was about surfing the waves. 2023 was about the year of illumination. And that continued quite deep into 2024. And then around June is when the manifestation and miracles, which is the vibe all the way from, I think it was the summer solstice is when it began. It's going to continue all the way till the 5th of March, 2026. The energetics of manifestation and miracles. That's the energy of this extended period of time. Everyone talks about, that we are entering the age of Aquarius. In India, we talk about the end of Kali Yuga and going into the golden age. Yes, we are actually entering a new era in the life of this planet. The planet has actualized itself. It has emancipated itself. And it's pretty awesome for me to experience the earth as in its in its youth now. The earth is in its youth now. Now, what does that actually mean? It basically means that humans, as far as the planet is concerned, whilst we as humans are very, very special, because not only do we have what most living beings have, we also have this very unique gift of thought, and we use our thought and integrate a combination of thoughts to create our beliefs that start to give us our presence. And that had become so powerful that it almost, destroyed the planet. The amazing thing that occurred, which really is the miracle of 2020, and the 2.5 years that it was quite strong on our planet, was that nature reclaimed itself. And we did see quite strong activation of the 5 elements. We saw fires, like quite rampant fires, floods, very unusual floods. Like I was caught up in the Dubai floods last year. Major occurrences with air as well as volcanic eruptions and all of that. We've seen a number of these things occur, but these are all reinforcements and a remembrance for us to know that we all have these elements within us, and these elements have the power to transform and transmutate. Fire, yes, it is a huge destroyer. In its destruction, it actually brings that remembrance of it being an equalizer. It destroys everything in the same way. Whether you're rich or you're poor or your wood or your paper, it destroys it in exactly the same way in its destruction. Not only does it equalize and re-anchors that message of equalization, it transmutates to a completely new state. Water as an element washes away the debris. So whatever is destroyed by fire, there's water that can come in and just wash away whatever remains so that we can step into our flow. Now, how fortunate are we that we had a whole year, 2021, to really learn to practice what it's like being in our flow. So at a cellular level, we have the cellular memory of flow. Air as an element blows away the clutter and brings focus. And we each of us works with air, moment by moment through our breath. And we can, consciously choose to activate the air element. If something occurs which is causing a lot of confusion or stress, okay, just energetically breathe into it. When you're breathing into it, you're activating the air element. And it literally, blows away the clutter and it brings focus. Earth as an element is like putting a stake in the ground, which is declaring who you are and what you are being at that particular point in time. And you can put a stake in the ground about everything. For me, a stake in the ground is expecting and accepting miracles being the norm for humans and humanity. in my lifetime. That's my stake in the ground. So whatever I do, it's actually heading in that direction. And I've chosen to do that. And if you don't have anything like that, it doesn't matter. Your stake in the ground could be you're putting a stake in the ground for unequivocal flow of yumminess as you choose aliveness. It could be that, but have a stake in the ground. There is a fifth element, and that is the element of ether or space. The way I work with space is I literally just use, so space creates the container in which life is given as a gift. It's a container. It's like this beautiful container that God gives us, our gift of life. Now, how we work with that gift of life, which is a state in which we are breathing, is entirely up to us. So we are very present to the presence of all of these elements. We've had all the way from 2020 all the way until now, where we experience these elements. And wherever we forget, they do come up as a reminder. Now, here's something else that is important to understand, which is it is the time of manifestation and miracles. Manifestation is festivities created like by man's imagination, man just being a unisex word, not woman and man, just think about it like that. So it's like whatever. So how about choosing what it is that you wish to manifest such that it is worthy of celebration? Because manifestation will occur. And it will occur such that it will feel miraculous, and it can be miraculous in a way that you feel your heart is singing, or it can be miraculous as something that completely knocks you out in the moment. So whatever you decide to manifest will manifest in the moment, and you'll see its impact in the moment. So like I say, today is a really important day of self-emancipation. And we've been working towards, really an actualization of ourselves. And many of you here have gone through the journey into miracles. And many of you here have done various immersive programs with me. So you all understand who you are in your mastery. So know that you have the ability to manifest whatever it is that you choose, and it will be presenced in the form of a very real experience in the moment. The universe is so activated through our senses, and some of you may have experienced it already, certainly since June, the summer solstice, our sensory systems have become very, very acute, very activated. You would have noticed it. And that's because the universe is fine-tuning them really well. Because who is our perfect companion for manifestation and miracles? It is the universe. And how does the universe work? It applies a multiplier effect. It simply applies a multiplier effect. You are the human. You have the innate vibe of amplification. So you can amplify stuff as a human. The universe will just multiply, and you can amplify what it multiplies. So the call is for you to really be conscious of choosing what you wish to manifest. Now, the other piece that is a super good news is because of this level of actualization and equalization that has taken place with the elements as well, we now find ourselves on this beautiful earth where humans represent an important collaborator and co-creator of coexistence, and we are a minority of all of the living beings that actually populate this planet. We have trillions and trillions of living beings that populate this planet. And they all operate from their truth. They are at source in how they are choosing to, live their life and express themselves. So even if humans go haywire at times, they no longer have the ability to destroy the planet. The planet is good. The planet is in a good place. It can completely heal itself. And it already has done so much of it. There's massive amount, there are various new species that will start being talked about. Several old species have resurrected. I mean, thanks to 2020, it did break a pattern that which was led by humans. Now humans have become collaborators and co-creators, exactly where the planetary energies are. Collaborative co-creation of coexistence. So it would be great to continue to play our part in making uplifting quality of life on the planet and making a difference to the environment. But you will also see autocorrections taking place because all of the elements are activated and they will exercise their presence as necessary. Now, what this means is the enlightened frequency of the planet is actually quite high. Overall, the enlightened frequency of the planet calls us to be in our truth. And as humans, we are very fortunate that if you just get into a rhythm, a cadence of manifestation and miracles, and you keep doing it for 28 days, it becomes a habit. And so then you apply that consciously, with complete awareness, then you will actually have developed a habit of consciously manifesting that which feels unequivocally flowing and yummy. And all you have to do with miracles is simply look through the miracle lens, and acknowledge what is making your heart sing. And you will start to see the difference it makes very rapidly. It's really awesome. I've been working with our business collective as well as some of the people that have been doing the immersions quite recently. And miraculous things have occurred. Miraculous things have occurred with people. And very rapidly indeed. So put it into practice. Now combine that. And I'm actually doing a massive amount of download here. And I'll open it up for questions in a few minutes, but I just want to keep going and then we'll open it up. Now you combine that with the sacred geometry triad that has been placed on top of this planet for everyone to benefit. I call it the flourishing triad. The flourishing triad has got three elements to it. Flourishing, three vibrational forces. Flourishing, harmony, and humility. So there are three very strong vibrational forces that form the tips of this triad. I call the flourishing triad. Flourishing, harmony, and humility. Humility is the way you choose to express. Harmony is the flow that you find yourself and the rhythm that you are in. Sorry, let me just close WhatsApp. So harmony is that rhythm, and to me, harmony is the flow across the six cylinders, harmonizing the six cylinders: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. And flourishing is how you choose to live and utilize this amazing gift of life that you have received. So the ideal place for you to place yourself is in the center of this triad. So you're benefiting from the energies of flourishing, harmony, and humility. Now, the way to invoke and activate, the triad is already invoked, so you don't have to do anything to invoke it. You have to activate it for yourself so that you get into the rhythm of this triad. And the way to activate it for yourself is to really get up close and personal with each of these three vibrational forces. So, flourishing. What does flourishing actually mean for me? So, if I am experiencing flourishing in my life, what does that look like? What is going on? What kind of experiences am I having? What kind of words am I using? If I'm experiencing flourishing in my work, what does that look like? If I'm experiencing flourishing in my relationships, what does that look like? And remember, many of you here already know this, and I talk about it a lot. As you are doing this, you are applying the power of this wonderful tool, which is the acknowledgement tool. It is a power tool. When you acknowledge that which you want, it automatically, it's like the best fertilizer you can put into that which you desire. And it completely multiplies very fast, blossoms and blooms. So what you're doing here is applying that by acknowledging and writing out for yourself. Then you go and look at harmony. When I'm in harmony across my 6 cylinders, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental, when I'm in harmony, what kind of experiences am I having? What kind of actions am I engaged in? What kind of people are there in my life? Like, really bring it to life. And then when it comes to humility, here you really focus on your sensory system, because your sensory system is the one that is super active and activated when you express and whatever it is that you choose or wish to express. So when I did this exercise, I applied humility to a few emotions that were really brilliant. So if I'm feeling a tremendous sense of accomplishment, and I'm communicating that with humility, what sort of words am I using? What's my demeanor? How am I feeling in my body? If I'm feeling intensely frustrated with someone, or actually, feeling angry about something that has occurred, and I express that with humility, how does that show up? So you will know what are the emotions. There may be that there's some disappointment or regret that you may be harboring for a long time. So just look at how the humility expression of that is going to come forth through you. Now, once you've defined these three individually, you can apply your own meditative practice, if you like. Just visualize as if you're standing in the center and all these three pieces are activated. And you're standing in the center of it. How does it feel? Where in your body do you feel this? So there will be a feeling of yumminess. And how is it flowing through your body? So now you're starting to get into the rhythm of being in the center of this triad: flourishing, harmony, and humility. You have now activated it. So I've chosen to do this, talk about 2025 over the next 4 weeks through this like 1 hour workshopy dialogue that we have. Sometimes it will only be a transmission and nothing else, but whatever it is. So just so that you have 28 days where you can actually develop the habit of being in the center of this triad of flourishing, harmony, and humility. It's so much easier if you actually choose, I'm going to be manifesting this. I mean, I used to apply manifestation to things sort of a little bit in the future. Now I'm like, okay, I'm about to go and meet my family for this brunch. So I'm going to manifest my experience, be proactive about it. And I manifest, and that I accomplished 9,000 steps with ease, grace, and joy, simply, and have a great time being with family, keeping under my 1,200 calories. I mean, like, hello, I just chose that. And lo and behold, it's actually quite difficult to do when you go to a huge buffet type brunch. I've got like 9,980 steps now, all done. And it was such an ease, joy, and grace walk. I still have 380 calories left to meet my 1,200, and I ate a lot. Just was mindful and enjoyably mindful. But the amazing thing is, so I'm just playing with it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to apply this manifestation of miracles. The interesting thing is the combo is one of these amazing winning combos. You get conscious about what you're manifesting. Miracles start to show up in the moment, and you stand in the center of your triad, flourishing, harmony, and humility in how you express yourself, how you show up, how you, rejoice in that experience. Remembering manifestation is a series of festivities created by us, the man part of the human. Now, here's the other piece to really get. Okay. So we have this fabulous triad. We are so supported, people, in 2025. Now, there is a shadow triad that goes with this. And the shadow is something that you slide into. But because everything is occurring in the moment, and you as a human and your ability to amplify is so activated that the moment you go into this shadow triad, very easy to just get stuck there. The shadow triad is meaning, blame, and lack of vitality. Meaning, blame, and lack of vitality. Meaning, the moment you give meaning to anything that occurs, you're on a fast track to anxiety, and then stress and helplessness and hopelessness and depression. The moment you get into blame of anything, you're on a fast track to being taken off whatever your game is. And when you have loss of vitality, you literally start eating up anything that has life force. You literally become like, self-cannibalizing force, sucking out life force out of everything. So your business, your health, your vitality, your relationships, you're just like sucking it out. So just be very aware of this. So we have recorded the Beyond Meditation session today. So those of you who do this practice, Anushri will share it in the group so you can do it for yourself. It literally was, and Anushri, my request to you is, I know it will be really late for you in India, but my request to you would be, if you can, just get it out to our Beyond Meditation family tonight itself, so they're able to utilize this the rest of the day, because many people here, for them it's still daytime.
Yeah, Mynoo, I'll do that for you. No issues.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is a shadow triad, meaning, blame, and lack of vitality. Lack of vitality results in loss of vitality. Vitality is a natural rhythm. When we are in harmony, but the vital life force is moving, it moves by itself. But when we engage in lack of vitality, actions. Now, this triad is so attuned to what's going on across your cylinders. So you're physically, you may be pumping away in a gym, thinking you're doing everything you can to be vital, but mentally you may be really upset about something. You are engaged in lack of vitality activity. And remember, if you have any sort of mental stress, or if you have any form of emotional anguish of any kind, or any breakdown in a social relationship, things can happen. And you can say, okay, that occurred. And that has occurred, and it's not making me feel good, and unconditionally accept it. It will not, you're not engaging in meaning, you're not engaging in blame, you're just acknowledging it and moving on with a very strong intention to stay in the center of the flourishing humility and harmony triad. There's another very important thing. If you are engaging with someone and they are in this triad, in the shadow triad of meaning, I call it the flourishing triad and the meaning triad. So if you're engaging with someone and they are in this meaning triad, you step into your role as an observer and only observe, standing in the center of the flourishing triad. It is their journey, however seductive or tempting it may feel, they may make it for you to engage in what is being said to you. Because when people are operating from meaning, they may attack, they may say stuff that you may feel that you have to justify and correct them. You don't have to do any of that unless, standing in the center of the flourishing triad, you're called to speak with humility. Most of the time when you're standing in that center, one, you will not receive the energy onslaught on you. You just won't, because your vibrational frequency, there's a complete mismatch. You will be able to simply observe it and just say in your mind, this is their journey. It's nothing to do with you. You happen to be there. There are 3 questions that really support you in working with this triad. And that's where I'm going to stop today and then open up for any questions that anyone may have. And I'll work with the next aspect of how you can move forward in next week. And the 3 questions are, is this mine to do? Many of you have heard me say this before. They are very powerfully empowered this time. Is this mine to do? If I didn't need to, and if I didn't have to, would I choose to do this? And the final question is when something beautiful occurs as you manifest your miracles. Remember to acknowledge them and connect with the universe by sharing a question for the universe as a request, which is, how much better can it get? You will know in this, when you're in the center of the flourishing triad, you will experience this unequivocal flow of yumminess in you. When you are in the meaning triad, you will have this yuckiness there. Sometimes it's difficult to shake that off, you know? So one of the diagnostic hacks for you to step out of the meaning triad into the flourishing triad is for you to examine, is there any unsaid communication I'm holding with anyone in my life? The unsaid communication is a biggie, you know? And then find a way in which you are able to communicate that unsaid communication, or acknowledge fully the fullness of this unsaid communication using the power tool of acknowledgement to get it out of your field, unconditionally accept it, anchor yourself in what is it that you wish to manifest now and what's going on right now that is making your heart sing. So that way you literally leapfrog into the flourishing triad. Now, I'm very conscious that this is an extremely important year. And whilst I have really shed so much of what I do in person with people, I am anchoring and bringing forth a regular rhythm of what I call as immersions. You know, there are 3 days, 4 day immersions. There's only one exception to that, which is going to be an immersion we're going to do in Bali, which is the ultimate detox, where we literally go across all of the detoxes, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. Physically, we work very specifically with the different organs, you know, the kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, the entire digestive tract. And we combine that with the emotional triggers that are harbored in these different organs when there is toxicity at an emotional level. So that is a long one. That's about 9 days in Bali. Other than that, there are 3 days, 4 days. If any of you are interested, curious, just in the chat, just put it in. Anushri will take that on. And then we'll come back to you on where the different ones are being scheduled. Just use the flourishing code as much as you can. My guidance was to certainly share one code every day until the 5th of March. I'll see what emerges after the 5th of March. So if nothing else, at least work with the code that I'm sharing. If we don't have your WhatsApp or we don't have your email, then you can put that in the chat as well, or certainly message Anushri about it. Rubena is a new person who's joined the Flourishing team. And she will be the one that will follow through on all of this stuff that you may want to be engaging in with us. I will do a session exactly like this again next Saturday as well. So for the next 4 weeks, I will be doing it. A little bit of reiteration of 2025. And then there will be a next layer. It's a big year, really big year, because literally from the 5th of March, 2026, we are into the new age. The new age is the age of brilliance. And brilliance is very personal. You know, it is you in your brilliance. And all of us collaboratively co-creating, coming from that space of brilliance, actually shines the brilliance of all that is. And this is going to occur. I mean, I have not been even given an end date for the age of brilliance, certainly until all of us have our last breath and beyond, several generations beyond, it is going to stay. So with that having been said, I would first of all invite you to just share one word that you are present to and just share it in the chat. And I'm open to any questions. I'm going to remove the spotlight from me. And if any of you have any questions, clarifications, comments, sharing that you wish to do at this point, I'm open. And will be great if you can all be on camera, please. Gratitude, miraculous, gratitude, grateful, wonder, humility, also harmony and flourishing. Yes. Love, love and brilliance. Excited. Yes. Grace, flourishing. Yeah, Kristen, I'm guided to have over the next 3 years, there's some work to be done in Rome and Italy. So I will certainly be working with you on that. Okay, great. Harmony, flourishing, learning. Wonderful. Okay, I'm open to any questions, comments. Just raise your hand and then Anushri can bring you on. Yes, Gail.
I do have a few questions. I thought that flourishing is a flow, okay? And you said how you choose to live your life. And then you said harmony is the flow rhythm that you're in. And then you said humility is the way you choose to express via the sensory system. And I don't quite understand that. So that's one of kind of two questions. And then I did write a few, sorry. And then you said meaning, which is the shadow triad.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, we look at the meaning of things, you know? I mean, we look at our lives, we look at what we're doing, our decisions, things like that. So it kind of sounds like that triad sounds like we are sabotaging ourselves. That's
Yeah. So let's take one at a time. I'll come to the meaning triad in a moment. Okay. So Gail, my request to you is that you will create your own version of flourishing, harmony, and humility. Just know humility is a way in which you express. Okay. And you just think about it, right? If we see something and it feels like really jarring and we immediately express it, you know, our senses are the ones that are very activated before we express. We just take them for granted, but they do. We hear something. And, you know, our expression sometimes is either a reaction to it or an amplification of that, you know. So it's interesting, you know, that this particular triad is getting us to become very conscious of also our sensory organs. We've always seen them only as organs, you know, eyes, we see, ears, we hear, but actually they are a sensory organ. They also enable us to sense what's really being shown to us, sense what's really being communicated, you know, and when you are in a space of humility and communicating, you plug into your sensory system by really going underneath what's there in the face. That's what happens. So that's my like little bit of an elaborate explanation there. But when you define what's more important to you is not necessarily to understand even the schematics or the nuances of these words. I want you to describe what is the vibe of expressing myself with humility feel like to me. I'm expressing with humility. What's that like? You know, someone lets me down or someone attacks me. I'm going to express with humility. What would that be like? I've just accomplished a really great gig, or one of my students has got a huge contract and has acknowledged me for it. How am I going to express that with humility? You know, just really define and describe it for yourself. Just all I'm doing is the amazing thing is these are big vibrational forces, flourishing, harmony, and humility. They already exist within us, actually. And by us describing it, we are bringing it into a conscious awareness, and like literally, we are flicking the switch on. That's all we are doing. So we can stand in the center of the triad.
So
Knowing,
we can accomplish, in other words, because it has been happening to me, where there are accomplishments, there are things that people are acknowledging me for and whatnot, and I don't feel like a braggart. You know, you
yeah,
think of humility, I think of being humble. So,
yeah,
but there is a fine line between saying, "Hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing," blah 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 blah, and you know, la la la, with an ego, and also, or hey, look, hey, this is amazing. I'm so excited about this, right?
yeah,
That
yeah. You know what, and by the way, I'm talking to Gail here, and there will be others I'll be talking to in a moment. The fact that this question and this dialoguing is taking place in your field, there is some nugget there for you. Okay. So just listen to it like that. Um, the beautiful part, Gail, is when you are operating from, when you're expressing with humility and you are consciously checking if you're in the center of this triad of flourishing and harmony, lots of stuff can happen. You're like there in the center of this triad, you know? You automatically become humble, you know? I was talking about this to, I just completed an immersion not that long ago. And I was talking to the people that were there, and he was saying, oh, this ego comes in the way of this, this ego thing is really the big. And I'm like, okay, let me just explain what ego is. Ego is a vibrational force that eggs you on. What you apply that vibration force of egg you onto is up to you. There's
so it's not.
nothing about it. It's not bad at all.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty cool vibrational force that really eggs you on. Now you can apply it to being in the meaning triad. You can apply it to blame, you can apply it to shaming people, you can apply it to whatever, and it keeps you there in that center of that triangle.
Okay.
Remember, I'm saying the triad is the sacred geometry symbol. People used to use sacred geometry symbols to naturally amplify because they attract cosmic energies. Right? So when you're in the center of the flourishing triad, you attract that. And that's why I'm doing this over the next 4 weeks, so that 28 days, if you guys can just hang in there in the center of this triad, you're there because you would have activated the perfect cosmic codes that will keep you there. The meaning triad, on the other hand, also it's you will see it if you ever slide into it, and you just, because I did that. I thought, okay, I slide into it. Let me see what happens. Let me go beyond 17 seconds. And it just eats you up. It's like this monster that opens up. Not only are you feeling anxious, because meaning, the moment we give meaning to something that has taken place, it starts a little bit of a journey towards anxiety, because meaning then starts to multiply very fast by itself. So one of our immersions is dedicated to anxiety to awesomeness, because it takes us off so fast. And all you have to do is to find a way in which you can leap into awesomeness, and awesomeness puts you straight into the center of the flourishing triad, and it completely self regenerates.
When you talk about meaning, I mean, everything, there's a meaning. I mean, when I listen to you, there's so much meaning in everything you say, in a good way, in a beautiful way. So I'm having a confusion about
I
like,
would say, if in what I say, there's so much value, there are so many insights, there are so many nuggets in what I'm saying. as opposed to now you can give meaning to, Mynoo always teaches me something new,
Yes.
and you can look at it as it's a fact. Now, and if you actually then start using it as a crutch, then when you are away from me, you're actually taking away your own recognition of your own self-worth. You know? So my whole thing always is, just be yeah, just on clarifying, meaning could be a story that you've attributed to a fact of what occurred.
So it's more about, not delving into the whatever, especially if it's yucky, not delving into the yuckiness, not delving into why did this happen and all of that. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
yeah. The thing is that even if you may be feeling really awful about what occurred, right? So there is one thing about giving meaning to it and then beating yourself up about it. There's another thing, which is just simply acknowledging that occurred, doesn't feel good. I'm feeling really awful about it right now. And I don't have anything more to say about it. I unconditionally accept it. Done. You're out. You're into awesomeness. Okay.
Okay.
When something occurs, it makes you feel good or bad or whatever it might be, and it has a particular impact on your body. By simply acknowledging it, you're staying with the fact. You're not being sucked in. It's
I
very
have,
simple.
what if you have I do have something that I've had for a long time since you've known me, which is problems with my gut pain almost every single day in the morning. And I've done, a lot of the meditations and everything. I still can't figure out where or why or how that, and I don't know that I want to look into the meaning, but I do want to, I want to resolve this. I want to resolve this for 2025.
Take it on, manifestation. Okay. So let's see what emerges as you take it on as a manifestation. So if you were flourishing and this whole gut issue was gone, I mean, there are people in the Journey to Miracles alumni who had certain issues that they had since they were kids, and they had just adjusted their lifestyle and hated having that issue. They were gone. They were gone. I mean, she took it on as a part of her journey into miracles, if anything was possible, like one of them. And one of the two issues, which was like a really big one, just was gone. It, you know, because a lot of what occurs is an emotional reaction, and then our physical cells sort of adjust to this rhythm. And that's why I love this triad of harmony, flourishing, and humility. And I really look at harmony is the rhythm of me, you know, and I'm really getting into the rhythm of my organs and all of that. You can go back to the human miracle, listen to those. You can go back to the beyond meditation on each of the different organs. You will act sitting in the center of this triad of flourishing. They will have a completely different impact on you.
Okay.
But first define it, given that it's an important one, if you are flourishing with this in this, despite the gut issue, what would that be like?
Oh, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been flourishing so much more, you know that. And it's funny that you mentioned June because that's when I went to Europe.
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that June was so significant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I was flourishing.
So, Gail, your one word to complete this interaction, and then Anushree, you're going to take me to the next person.
I used this word the other day and my student didn't know what it was, but I think I know you do. Magnificent rapport.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Okay. Over to you, Anushree.
Yeah, so Mynoo, this is the last question I guess you are taking.
Well, I think just John had his hand up, but his hand is now down. So
Yes.
maybe Abdullah can come in.
Yeah.
Hello, Abdullah.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Just a clarification about humble versus abuse, because some people around us, when we are humble, they think that we are weak or we cannot respond or we don't have the
Yeah.
power. How
Yeah.
we balance between this perception of the people around us abuse us
Mm.
versus being humble?
It's a very good question, Abdullah, because I was exactly of that mind, of that way of thinking, that humble means being weak, you know. And actually, if you, I mean, you've now known me for a bit, and we've actually done quite a lot of work together. Abdullah has participated in 3 of our immersions, and he's the one who's taking us into Saudi Arabia right now. So we've really interacted quite a bit. Okay. Um, and I have said stuff to you, which is quite strong about, and that has led you to make some strong decisions and choices that you have gone and implemented in a state of vulnerability with the people that you have communicated with, right? Now, you had that inner strength of you in your source mastery. When you talk with humility, you are plugged into what is it that I'm resolved about in my life. So it's as if little things don't bother you. You're able to stand. There's a natural gravitas that comes in. You stand tall. People see the strength that you have. They won't push you around. They won't mess you about because they feel your strength. Simply because you're standing in your source and you're communicating exactly what you wish to, making a clear request. They may go up and down because, they are not quite where you are. You still can respond, not react. The beauty of humble is you're never pushed to react. Reaction is reactivation of an emotional trigger. Respond is reestablishing a bond. So here, when you're standing in humility, you're always reestablishing a bond with your mastery. You show up as a master. So the person opposite feels like they can actually stand in their magnificence. Or if they are truly in a very different vibration, a very low vibration, they can still express whatever they're frustrated about, and it doesn't necessarily affect you. It allows them to express fully because they're not having to battle you anymore. So they can express fully, then it gets out of their system. Now they can make some decent choices for themselves. So I would invite you to, like I'm saying, describe what that form of communication is, because you've had several of these communications, Abdullah, recently, right? So you will be able to say, okay, this is what was going on, Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll just take Ananta as well. No, she's had her hand up for a bit. Ananta.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me in this new setting. I wanted to ask you about the loss of vitality part on the meaning triad, because I think for the past few days I really experienced that, and I have not felt that in a really, really long time. And it was something where I tried not to give too much meaning to it. I was like, I think my body is just recalibrating because I'm going through acupuncture treatments and just having the intention to reset after a pretty hectic integration period of nonstop travel for 2 weeks. So I think like my body maybe was just catching up on, whoa, what was that? And now what's this? And so I just kind of was light with it. And now today I'm feeling like it's restored. But I wondered if you had some words of wisdom on how to tap in when you feel completely depleted.
Yes. So there is a very important nuance to understand.
Okay.
Okay, there are some symptoms of vitality which actually are not vitality depleting. They really are your body recalibrating to a new expression of you. Okay, so I call them ascension symptoms, and that's what they call in the spiritual world. Though these 2025 ascension symptoms are quite different. They literally are like ascension into your brilliance, is what's going on. And how do you know whether your loss of vitality is that versus you being in the meaning triad? You'll find that some days they'll just disappear. Like they would be very strong, and then another time they'll just disappear. And then they might come back again. But then you know that, okay, this is just my body recalibrating.
Okay.
Okay. Now, here's something that's really important, very important for you to get and for me to get, right? Because I've also taken on physical vitality as an important part of my journey this year, which is no violence. This is like applying no violence to your body, none. None. Completely stand in the center of the flourishing triad. Develop that partnership with your body. Okay, no violence. And I mean, I know in many parts of my life, I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen, and I do it. Here, doing 9,000 steps and having the time with the kids and doing this session that we are doing now and having the time with the family, I would have just gone to the gym and pumped away at this treadmill to get my 9,000 steps because I said so, right? That would have been violence. Instead, I just allowed myself to flow with it, and lo and behold, I was able to accomplish more than what I thought I wanted to do. And body doesn't feel any violence at all. So just be conscious of that, okay? And remember, ego is 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 really the vibrational force, like the spark that eggs you on, okay? So you can egg yourself on in terms of, being, really accomplishing your body upliftment, being in the center of this flourishing triad, and that's what you manifest and observe the miracles that occur. Applying the ego, egg you on, vibration to that. Your acknowledgements will be with such humility. Connect to your body, because every little recalibration that your body goes through, it's big. There are so many layers. Just imagine when we just cut ourselves, so many things are impacted, right? In this little finger cut, there are so many layers of tissues and, different capillaries and nerves and cartilages and all sorts of stuff, right? And we have a whole body that's made up of 124 trillion cells. Okay, your transformation, if you allow yourself to see it from the center of the flourishing triad, you will actually start removing, like erasing the energy signatures of that constant pain that you've had for so many years. Once the energy signature is removed, as your body recalibrates, those pains will not come back. So thank you for asking the question.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Anushri. I think Rubena wanted to say something, right?
Hi, hello everyone.
Right.
Hi Mynoo, good evening. I just wanted to ask you, so now that you've explained the meaning of the meaning triad, I feel like the situation that I was in a month ago. What
Mhm.
was I felt like that was when I was in the meaning triad and you pulled
Yeah,
me out of it and you got me out of it and got me to the flourishing triad. Am I right?
yeah, that's what I did. So
Yes.
and
So
remember,
I,
I made sure that you acknowledged everything that you were experiencing, all of the meaning.
So I'm
right?
so glad I attended this session because this explained everything to me that happened and how you helped, and I'm grateful for that. That you helped me get out of it, and then now I understand the meaning of the flourishing and the meaning triad. Now I know the difference as well as how it helped me. So thank
Yes,
you,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So with that, I would like to complete our session today. Please share how you're implementing it. And many of you are already a part of the alumni group. And if you're not, let me know, and we will add you to that. And it would be wonderful for you to share what does it mean, for you to be flourishing. That what does this flourishing triad look like for you? Okay. And take it on, 28 days, make it a habit. If you don't do it one day, then you have to start again. So while I'm doing these 4 weeks, just take it on as a game for yourself. Okay, so moment by moment, acknowledge if you're off this triad, come back to the fact, and get back into the flourishing triad. But for that, you begin by defining what does flourishing, harmony, and humility mean for you. Thank you, everyone. Please share your one word in the chat to complete our session today. It's such a delight to reconnect with so many of you. Very happy. Yes, Ananta, the zero tolerance is pretty awesome. Exuberance, just in time, calmness. Abdullah, always just in time, right? Love, humility, gratitude. Great to see you, Sonia, Sarah. Wonderful. Happiness, love and gratitude, flourishing. After a while, Ananta, the zero tolerances just won't be showing up. Initially you keep them as a finger on the pulse, and then after a while they just won't show up. So just check in every day, and then if they haven't showed up, and then you'll just do a stock take at the end of the day. Okay. Vitality, gratitude, manifestation and acceptance, humility. Yes, grateful, learning, and my completion word is flourishing. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Flowing in gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will complete our meeting now.